Good day, everyone. My name is Michal Ptaszynski, and let me tell you today about the opportunities to use automatic detection methods for race and nationality-based online harassment. So first of all, who am I? I work in Japan in Kitami Institute of Technology, specifically in text information processing laboratory, where I do research on artificial intelligence, computational linguistics, and specifically on automatic cyberbullying detection. And from 2019, I've been advising Samurai Labs, which is a company from Poland, on cyberbullying detection model development. So what is automatic cyberbullying detection? Shortly, it's a scientific field aiming to develop methods to detect and mitigate online harassment. Here is a historically first paper written in English. It was written in 2010. And from that time, the field has grown significantly. Here you have numbers per year. Only in 2022, there were over 2,500 related papers. But the number of strongly related papers overall is slightly smaller. So about 300 papers per year are closely related, published every year. Right now, there's over 1,600 papers in this field. And from this number, only our team produces about 2% of all papers globally. So my research on automatic detection by today has been 1/3 of my life, which is about 15 years. And during my time, I tried different methods from the whole spectrum of natural language processing and machine learning. And what have I learned? So one thing that I learned was that one person or one lab or even one company cannot solve the whole problem. But the methodology for solving the problem is well worked out. The good practices are in place, good practices in development of cyberbullying detection methods. And the detection methods themselves are mostly ready and updating frequently along with new data and developments in AI. If you want to hear about good practices in automatic cyberbullying detection, here are the links to both the whole presentation as well as to the slides of the presentation, which I did last year in September. So what is already done? What are the automatic cyberbullying detection models available? So here's one example for Polish, which you can also use freely. Here's one example for Japanese. Both of those methods are freely available on the Hugging Face hub. But the ultimate goal of my research was to create a sustainable cyberbullying detection. And the reason for that was that in one of our research, we found out that model performance actually degrades with time. So in 2013, we created a method that had over 90% of precision. And when we did a re-evaluation of it in 2015, we found out that it lost over 30% points of precision. So there were several reasons for that. One was that in 2 years, new vocabulary appeared on the internet. And the old vocabulary, even though it was also still in use, it wasn't used that often as previously. But one of the most important reasons was that there was a shift in what is considered offensive on the internet. So there is a need to update models regularly with new data and technology. So to do this, we wanted to optimize the process of creating cyberbullying detection models. And one of the questions we asked was, can you choose a optimal model without any experiments? So long story short, it's not possible to choose optimal model without any experiments, but by looking carefully and closely at the data, it's possible to estimate which models will work best. The second question was, can you make a good enough model without any data, when you have no data at all? And here the answer was actually yes. If you don't have any data in your language, in language A, it actually is possible to leverage data from language B to make a model in language A. The field which covers that is called cross-lingual transfer learning, and it takes data in one language, it creates a model, and then it adapts or tests on the other language. The question in this research was which language pairs actually work best. So we found out that it's a good idea to use similar languages, languages from similar families, in the transfer learning to produce better results. The problem was how to actually measure the similarity between languages. So what we did was we created a language similarity measure by quantifying the World Atlas of Language Structures, and the results were very nice. So these were the studies I did mostly with my team in Japan. Now, regarding the work I've been doing with Samurai Labs. So mostly I've been involved in development of tools for mitigating online harassment, studies to estimate the impact of online harassment, and improvement of content moderation. So for example, one tool that is developed by Samurai Labs is the tool for personal attack detection. Here you can see an example of how the method works. So for example, it first can normalize the slang, even a very creative and difficult to understand slang. Then it disentangles the context of the message. And by doing that, it can limit the false positives, which are often generated by using purely machine learning or rule-based tools. And using this method, we did some interesting research. For example, we found out that personal attacks received online significantly decrease victims' online activity. And that was a very large research on about 150,000 users. Another tool that is developed in Samurai Labs is the toxic username detection tool. So actually, username spamming has been recently a big problem. You can see or hear a number of people noticing this problem. Even some YouTubers talk about this. The problem is that spammers and bullies trick profanity filters by cramming harmful information in usernames, not in the main message. So here's an example how the method works. It can cover various combinations of vocabulary, and it handles colloquial and slang modifications, also very creative modifications. And the method actually has a free demo, so you can use it freely on the internet. Here's the URL and QR code for that. And we also did some research using this method, and we found out that users with toxic usernames produce more toxic content, and are more likely to have their accounts suspended. Which of course doesn't mean that if you have profanity in your username, you are a bad person, but rather statistically from the perspective of online moderators and online community managers, they should look more carefully at users which have such toxic usernames. Another tool developed by Samurai Labs is Cyber Guardian. It's an online community moderation support tool, and it contains various detection models, including the ones which I mentioned before. And it has a very customizable, user-friendly interface. And with this method, we actually did some other research, by which we found out that different types of interventions work on different types of users. So for example, empathetic interventions work better on less aggressive offenders, and normative interventions work better on more aggressive offenders. Now, regarding applicability of all those methods in race and nationality-based harassment. So all types of and all areas of harassment can also have a racial connotation. And also, AI methods can detect harassment regardless of racial connotation, but racial and nationality-based cues can further direct AI methods. And it is also possible to separately to develop separate AI methods specifically for race, ethnicity, and nationality-based harassment. As a case study, with Samurai Labs, Samurai Labs did some research with Hate Lab. It's a laboratory in UK, in Cardiff University, which does research in hate speech and also hate speech detection. So the goal of this project was to detect anti-immigrant messages on social media before, during, and after Brexit. It was possible to detect different hate categories, obviously including insults, stereotypes, requests to leave the country, using some derogatory terms, up to some more heavy categories such as threats to health and lives or accusations of crimes. Here is the distribution of hate categories on Twitter and on YouTube. As you can see, the insults and negative stereotypes were the most prevalent both on Twitter and YouTube. Regarding detection results, it was possible to detect hate against Polish minorities, Polish immigrants in the UK with about 80% of precision and 70–80% of recall. Regarding future prospects, so first of all, we now know that it is possible to produce optimal AI model for any data, and data collection is mostly feasible. Right now we have more than 1 million samples and counting. There is some difficulty in collecting data from closed chats like WhatsApp and Messenger, though with the help of those platforms, I'm sure it could be possible. Now, regarding the taxonomy of hate speech and harassment, online harassment, is very well worked out and can also be further specified for each task. As an example, with Samurai Labs, we've been advising UK's OSDI initiative in creating of their own UK's taxonomy of online harms. And also specifically with Samurai Labs, there is a team of expert annotators, which is also important in creating data, which have higher education, psychology background, and over 3 years of experience. And also we have flexibility in and to adapt to the needs of users. So for example, users of course can use the ready-to-use tools, but it's also easy to create models for specific tasks. So if you need to use a tool for detection of online harassment, or if you want to develop one, give us a call. We're ready to support you. Thank you for listening. For direct research and collaboration opportunities, you can contact me directly, or for product use and development, you can contact Samurai Labs. Thank you very much.